Stop right there and read this from the very beginning. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss, because what you are about to discover is a moment that turned every screen into a battlefield of emotions. If you love drama twists, explosive tension, and scenes that leave you staring in shock long after they end, you must not scroll past this. And when you finish, share this article with someone who lives for unforgettable K-drama moments, because this scene deserves to be seen by the entire world. The night of the party had started out like any glamorous gathering in a high-profile K-drama universe. Soft music, glittering lights, guests in elegant outfits moving gracefully across the hall. Everything looked perfect, polished, peaceful. Until the moment that changed everything. Ji Chang-wook entered the room with his steady stride, his sharp eyes scanning the scene with the calm confidence only he could carry. He looked composed, focused, and almost untouchable. But hidden beneath that cool exterior was something fiery, something unresolved, something that had been simmering for far too long. Nam Ji-hyun arrived moments later, stepping into the party with an elegance that drew every gaze without her even trying. Her expression was calm, but behind her eyes was the quiet storm of someone who had a lot to say, but no place to say it. She moved through the crowd with a soft grace, her dress glimmering beneath the chandelier lights. Then their eyes met, and the entire atmosphere shifted. Guests sensed it immediately. The tension between them did not feel like simple irritation. It felt like a story that had gone untold for too long. A storm waiting to break. The air tightened around them, as if the party itself held its breath. Nam Ji-hyun took the first step. She walked straight toward him, her chin lifted, her expression steady. Ji Chang-wook remained still, refusing to look away. The distance closed, slowly and sharply, until they stood face to face, surrounded by curious onlookers who pretended not to stare. Her voice came first, soft but edged with frustration. She asked him why he had avoided her for days. Why he had left their last conversation unfinished. Why he had acted as if her feelings and her words had meant nothing. Ji Chang-wook answered with a calmness that felt too controlled. He told her he needed time. He told her he could not deal with everything all at once. But his voice, steady on the surface, carried something darker beneath it, something complicated, something unsaid. Nam Ji-hyun did not accept that. She stepped closer, her eyes bright with emotion. She said he should have spoken up. He should have trusted her. She said she deserved honesty, not silence. Her voice rose slightly, enough that the people nearby turned their heads. Ji Chang-wook responded with the first spark of heat. He said she had no idea what he was dealing with. He said she was pushing too hard. He said she always wanted answers even when he had none to give. The tension cracked. Their words grew sharper. Their expressions tightened. Their voices gained strength. The quiet disagreement turned into a sudden storm of emotion right in the center of the party. Guests froze. Conversations halted. The music seemed to fade into the background. Nam Ji-hyun accused him of shutting her out, of pulling away every time things got real, of pretending everything was fine when it obviously was not. Ji Chang-wook fired back, saying she always demanded perfection, that she always wanted clarity even when he was drowning in everything happening around him. His tone was deeper now, more raw, more honest. Their frustration spilled into the open. The energy between them became so intense that the crowd backed away, forming a silent circle around them. No one dared to interrupt. No one dared to speak. Then came the moment that broke the internet. Nam Ji-hyun stepped forward and jabbed her finger toward his chest. Not aggressively. Not violently. But with a force that carried months of bottled feelings. She told him she cared. Too much. More than he realized. She said she would not stand there pretending she was unaffected. She said he mattered to her, and that was the real reason she was upset. The room fell silent. Ji Chang-wook stared at her, stunned. His expression softened in a way no one expected. The anger in his eyes shifted into something deeper. Something vulnerable. Something that had always been there, but had been hidden behind his calm exterior. He took a slow breath and said he cared too. That he had cared for a long time. that everything she did affected him more than she could ever imagine. He said she terrified him, not because she was harsh, but because she mattered more than anyone else. Nam Ji-hyun's eyes widened. The crowd gasped. The tension twisted into something warmer, something tender, something real. The fight that had started as frustration now melted into raw honesty. The two stood there, breathing hard, their emotions exposed under the glittering lights of the party. Ji Chang-wook reached out, carefully, slowly. He touched her hand, not forcefully, not dramatically, but with a quiet sincerity that silenced the entire hall. Nam Ji-hyun did not pull away. Instead, she stepped closer. Their anger dissolved into an unspoken connection that everyone watching felt in the depths of their chest. It was the kind of scene that blended chaos and affection, conflict and emotion, tension and truth. The moment ended with the two standing closer than they had all night, their eyes locked, their breath steadying, their hands intertwined without hesitation. Within minutes, clips of the scene exploded across every platform. Fans argued, screamed, cried, and celebrated. Editors replayed it again and again. Reactions flooded in from every corner of the world. Because this was not just a fight. It was a confession hidden beneath raised voices. It was a story breaking open. It was chemistry turning into something undeniable. The party hall was still echoing with silence after their heated exchange. The crowd held its breath, unsure if the moment had calmed or if an even bigger storm was about to begin. Ji Chang-wook and Nam Ji-hyun stood inches apart, hands still intertwined, their eyes locked in a gaze so powerful it felt like time had stopped. The tension did not fade. It simply transformed. Nam Ji-hyun was the first to break the stillness. She pulled her hand back gently and whispered that she needed air. Not because she wanted to leave him behind, but because the emotions inside her were too strong, too overwhelming, too raw to be contained in the middle of a glittering room full of strangers. Without a word, Ji Chang-wook followed her. They walked out onto the balcony, stepping into the soft night air. The city lights stretched endlessly below them, shimmering like scattered stars. The cool breeze brushed against them, calming their heated emotions but not erasing them. For a moment, they stood there in silence. Nam Ji-hyun leaned on the railing, her eyes lowered, her shoulders trembling slightly from the force of everything that had just happened. She looked small, fragile, yet fiery all at once. Ji Chang-wook watched her from a step behind, his chest rising and falling with slow, steady breaths as he tried to gather the right words. He approached her carefully, leaving just enough space so she would not feel pressured. He spoke softly, his voice no longer sharp, no longer defensive. He said he never meant to hurt her. He said seeing her upset felt worse than anything he had been holding inside. He said he was afraid that if he told her everything he felt, he would lose control of the part of his heart he had guarded for so long. Nam Ji-hyun turned her head slowly, her eyes filled with a mix of disbelief and longing. She told him she was not asking for perfection. She was not asking for answers he did not have. She was asking for honesty, for trust, for a place in his life that did not feel like a guessing game. Her voice cracked just slightly, and Ji Chang-wook closed the distance between them. He reached out, gently touching her arm, his thumb brushing her sleeve with a tenderness that felt like an apology without words. He said he had been scared, not of her, but of what he felt around her. He said she had become someone he could not ignore, someone who saw through him too easily, someone who mattered far more than he ever intended. Nam Ji-hyun stared at him, stunned by the sincerity in his voice. The anger in her core softened, replaced by something deeper and warmer. She stepped closer, their shoulders almost touching now, the city lights glowing behind them. Then came the moment that set the internet on fire. Ji Chang-wook lifted her chin gently with his fingertips and asked her one question. He asked if she still cared, even after the arguments, the misunderstandings, and the frustration. His voice was quiet, steady, vulnerable in a way fans had never seen before. Nam Ji-hyun looked up at him, her eyes glistening with emotion. She whispered that caring was never the problem. The problem was how much she cared, how deeply, how completely, how uncontrollably. She said that was why she was hurt. Because he mattered. Her confession struck him harder than any argument they had. His expression softened instantly. He stepped fully in front of her now, blocking the cold wind, shielding her gently with his presence. He told her he cared too, more than he had wanted to admit, more than he had allowed himself to show. The world seemed to fade around them. He reached for her hand again. This time, she did not hesitate. Their fingers intertwined with a certainty that felt like a silent promise. Nam Ji-hyun took a shaky breath and leaned her forehead against his chest, not dramatically, not suddenly, but with the quiet exhaustion of someone who had been holding back for too long. Ji Chang-wook wrapped an arm around her shoulders, pulling her close in a protective embrace that melted every last barrier between them. It was a moment of raw closeness, a gentle collapse of walls, a turning point that neither of them could step away from now. Inside the hall, guests whispered, wondering where the two had disappeared to. But on the balcony, far from curious eyes, Ji Chang-wook and Nam Ji-hyun stood together, breathing softly, their earlier fight transformed into something infinitely more powerful. Clips of their balcony moment exploded across the internet within hours. Fans replayed every tiny detail. The way she leaned into him. The way he held her. The way their anger dissolved into a tenderness that felt too real to be scripted. This was not just a continuation of a fight. It was a confession hidden inside silence. A healing wrapped inside vulnerability. A connection deepening in the dark glow of the city. And it was only the beginning. Don't miss the next episode. Subscribe with notifications on.